Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to implement lazy loading. Okay, so we will start from the scratch. Let's see, we have a requirement that in our application, in the left hand navigation section, we should add a link. And when we click on that link, our component should be loaded into the mid section. Okay, so this is already in place. All those links are working fine. So suppose when I click on this strategy pattern here, the component is loaded in that section, and this is happening because we have enabled routing in our application and we are using it, right? So let's see how do we add one more link here, and we should jump into the code. Let's see. So you can see in the app component HTML, the anchor tag is list. So look into this browser. In the left hand navigation section, you can see the links are anchor tag. So let's add one more link. So we are iterating through this filler nav constant. Let's see what is that. If you look at, this is a constant name route. So we are going to add one more link here, and to add one more link we will add one more object here. So the name will be lazy and the route string will be lazy, right? Once it is done, we can see our link is displayed. So when we click on any link, for example strategy or higher order operators, you can see the component is loaded. So how it is working in app.component HTML, when we click on this link, right, we can see we are calling the router. So router is injected and we are calling navigate by URL method on it, and we pass the route string. Okay, so the route string is passed, and if we find any route, suppose if we are getting the route here which are registered in this routes array and registered in the module app module using router module dot for route, then we are going to get that component into router outlet. So the router outlet is there on the app.component.html, and it is the part of this mat card content. All right, so let's have a look. When we click on this lazy link, we can see nothing is happening. Why? Because routes for this lazy component is not registered and neither the component exists. So let's start implementing it first. So the first step would be, in the app component we are going to create a new component which is called lazy. So let me write it here. The component is getting generated, and we should write a route for it. So we will go to the app module. In the app module we can see that our routes for route are registered in this list, route list. When we go to here, we can see there are two routes. So let's copy it, and the route string will be lazy and the component will be lazy component. So lazy, right? So one thing you should keep in mind, we have created a lazy component. You can see it is here. Once this component is created, then in that case, in the app.module.ts, this entry is there in the declaration section, right? And then this is also listed in this route as well, right? So let me remove this lazy component, whether it is fine or not. All right, so let me click on this link, and you can see this lazy works. Okay, so we do not have to declare this component here in this app.module, but this will be the part of routing module, right? In routing module.ts, in the route, we will, if we mention this component as lazy component, a component in the route, then in that case it will be loaded. Okay, everything looks okay, but the problem with this approach is, as our application grows, we are going to add more and more routes into this file become unmanageable. And as I said, when the deployment is created, all the components will be added into the main.ts file. The size of main.ts file will increase, and that will have impact on response time, so user experience will become bad. So we are going to solve this problem using lazy loading. So there are few steps we need to follow. So the first step is to create new feature module. So we are going to create a module. Since it is in a component, we are going to add a module here. Let me add a module under the app, new module. We are going to write lazy. All right. Okay, so the lazy module is created, and we will declare the lazy component inside it. So let me do that. In the lazy module, we will declare it here, dot lazy component, right? Second thing, we are going to write the routes here. So router module dot for child, and then we will pass the route from there to here. So right now it is in route list, so we will cut this path, this route, and we will keep it here, right? And we are going to load this module into app.module. So we are going to import it. Let me write it. Import the lazy module. Let's see, everything seems okay. Okay, so this is compiled. Let's see whether it is working or not. So if I click here strategy pattern and click I, all right, so everything seems fine. So in the first step, we solve the problem of the routes. This file will not become large. All the routes which are related to the feature module, which is lazy module in our case, will be part of this lazy module. Let's see what steps we have implemented so far. So the first step is to create new feature module. So in our case, this is lazy module. We have implemented that. Now create components required in this module. So we have created a sample component, which is lazy component, and we have declared it in this lazy module, right? The third step is create separate routing. So we have created separate routing using router module dot for child, and we have cut this route from routing app.routing module dot ts to here in the feature module, right? So the fourth step is remove the module from imports array from the app module. So we will go to the app module. We will remove this lazy module from here, and we should remove this also, imports. All right, so why do we need to remove module from here? Because all the modules which are part of this imports array in ng module, they are eagerly loaded, which means they will become part of main.ts file in the package, right? So if we do not remove from here, we are going to lose the benefit of this lazy loading, right? So we will do this thing. Then the next step is add route for lazy module in the main route. So let's, in the module we have these routes which are registered for route. We will go to there, and then we will add route here. So our path will be lazy, which is here, and then we will add load children property, which is a function which will essentially return the promise, right? So this is the path to the module. We will not provide the .ts extension here, and then we will get the module. So this is, this is we are getting by IntelliSense. All right, so last step is refactor feature modules into the routes. So we will refactor this route. We are going to blank it here, make it blank here, and the reason for that, we have already written this route in this path. Okay, so and then the last thing is add preloading strategy. So preloading strategy are add in this router module, which is in the app module.ts, where we have registered our route using for route method. So here we will pass preloading strategy with no preloading, right? So we will discuss more about these preloading strategy into our next session, but for now Angular provides two default strategies, or two strategies. One is no preloading and another is preload all modules, right? So the default strategy is no preloading, which means we are not we will load our lazy modules on demand. This means what? It is not going to be loaded with the uh, main.ts, right? So let's have a look here. Our build size, you can see our build is, we can look main.js, our build is 186.77 kb, and let's save it and check. All right, so our build is compiled, and now we can see previously our build the size of main.js was 186.77 kb. Now here it is reduced, so it has become 183.51, and you can see one lazy chunk is also created, which will be loaded on demand. Okay, so let's have a look into the browser. If we look at here, let me clear the console and then let me click on this lazy button, but before that we will clear the network console and let me click here, right? And we can see it here in resource. So once our application is loaded, our resource will be loaded in this manner. So main.js, polyfill, runtime, all the js file will be here, and you can see in the network we have nothing. So when I click this lazy icon link, you can see this chunk is loaded with on demand, right? So, and if you look at here in this network file, you can see that this is loaded on demand. So let me clear it, and now it is loaded in the file. If we click again, it is not going to load again, right? Because it is loaded for the first time, and once it is loaded, we don't have to load it again, right? So, and right, so I have created other modules. Let me add some module here. For example, we should see this dependency injection module, right? So let me load this module into the lazy module. So we will make it the part of this module. So here we are going to import, right? And let me import it, and in the app module we are going to remove from here. You can see we have removed from here. Let me remove the import from here as well, right? So all right, so now our lazy module contains one more module, and save it. Let's see what is there in the build. You can see the build is the size of main.js. You can see the size of main.js is drastically reduced. So earlier it was 183, now you can see it is 163.47 kb, and this lazy chunk is increased, right? So we can segregate our application into in such a way that those modules which are not required at initial load, we can call them into on demand, and we can reduce the main.js size, and it will increase the performance by increasing by decreasing the response time. So user interaction or user behavior, user interaction will be good. I hope that's it about this lecture. So this is the happy path. Okay, so this is what we learned and we applied it here, but in real scenario we face some other challenges, and in the next session we are going to discuss them. So let's meet in the next session.